And then the next part we have around the tROAS. Mariana will be talking about that. I will just say a few introductory words about that new product. It was kind of released some time ago, but it had a few different ways how you could implement it. It kind of created a lot of mess and confusion among the the advertisers, because in general how it worked was it was working on the ads revenue. So in general, you just connected your mediation to Google, and if your game had a lot of ads revenue, then the mediation was sending to the Google Ads events with the information about ads revenue. And you could do it in a few different ways. So you could, for example, you could send every user impression and the value of that impression. Yeah, that value of the impression was, for example, value of like 0.05 cent. Yeah, it can be implemented in the way that you just put some threshold in your Firebase saying, okay, send the events in tier 1 countries when the event is higher than 10 cents. Then let's set the threshold for tier 1, tier 3 countries, for example, for 5 cents. So if the user goes over 5 cents, then it's sending the event with that value. Yeah. So when in reality working the way that as the user I went to the game, I was clicking a few ads, and if I went over the threshold, let's see this 10 cents, then the system was sending the event to the Google saying, okay, that user went over 10 cents, and that's the value of that all his impressions. Yeah. So in this case, specifically for ad-funded apps, so it's recommended for those games and apps that have like 90 plus of revenue coming from ads. But actually, I see more and more tests coming from hybrid campaigns. Like Łukasz was saying that in reality they are using those campaigns quite efficiently, and in their case, actually, like half of the revenue is coming from ads, half of the revenue is coming from in-app purchase, and it works still pretty well. Although it's not kind of the full recommend that solution. Yeah, so idea is that it's for really ads heavy campaigns. Yeah, and then we'll have the machine learning optimizing the campaigns in the same way we would have with traditional tROAS that with IIP driven campaigns. Yeah, the same system, just based on the ads. There is of course some let's call it limitations. So it's only for Android so far. Requiring Google Analytics for Firebase, because Google Analytics for Firebase is sending exactly those events. And then in general, it's kind of fit. It's mostly for those that have a lot of ads revenue, but it can be for hybrid. But then it of course needs to be kind of tested. There is some tech implementation behind it. Again, you need to implement some specific event. Usually that's called ad impression. It requires whitelisting. So again, if someone would like to test it out, please reach out to me. I'm happy to kind of help you to test it out. Again, especially for hybrid and ads monetized games. And there are specific best practices that you need to follow. And I think in this case, Mariana from Pixel will actually share their experience, how it worked for them, and what she can share based on their tests.